I'm so excited to be here. And, wow, I'm trying to wrap my mind around all of the amazing information that we've received today. Um, it just shows me that there is such a treasure trove of knowledge inside of our homes, and that's starting with our mamas. So where are we now in the world? Um, as it was mentioned earlier, we had folks telling us that our country is essentially shutting down in ways unlike ever before. And for some of us in certain cities across the country, we've even been told to shelter in place or stay at home. So rather than even being able to go out and about with a little bit of freedom, but keeping that 6 foot distance rule, we're physically confined within our homes with our loved ones. And the whole idea of loved one has a whole new meaning when you're quarantined down, doesn't it? Um, Literally everything outside of our home is canceled. And for many of us, it's a real shift and change from all this busy schedule of being the bus driver and the getting the kids from one place to another and all the activities because we're plugged in and really supporting them. So how do we shift that energy and the time that we have as moms and even as wives to bring activities into the home? So Melanie has mentioned some of those great ways that you can engage, not just on technology, but heart to heart and eyeball to eyeball. I like to say around here in my house, we like to connect. And it begins with a direct form of eye contact. So how can we do that when literally everything outside is canceled and we're trying to adhere to physical distancing and we're stuck in the confines of our home? We're missing all the social events that we wanted to be doing, our book clubs and our Bible study groups and our friend visits and even our family dinners. What can that look like now? Well, I want to take a little nod from those that have gone before us. And I'm not necessarily talking about the moms that have gone before us in this country, although they do have great information. I want to mention our friends across the pond. Those that have already experienced the COVID-19 situation. We've seen on newscasts across the country that the folks in Italy have been quarantined for quite a very long time. But they have inspired me to look at my neighborhood and the street in which I live in a whole new light. I've seen the videos and newscasts of them coming out onto their balcony and waving to a neighbor and to a friend and bringing back a sense of hospitality and warmth, to even playing music from their balconies as well and others joining in. I was sitting out back reading yesterday and I stopped for a moment and I was like, wow, is that the band? What I came to realize is just across the neighborhood, I could see him as I peered over my fence. There was a young man out practicing his snare drum, and a couple houses down was actually a young lady on her saxophone. Our whole entire neighborhood was blessed with music. So you might have a special talent in your house, one of your little stars, budding stars. Let them go sing. Sing for not only the family in the house, but turn your backyard into a way that you've got a stage for the whole entire neighborhood. Now, don't be annoying. I'm not saying doing it at the wee hours of the night, but an occasional getting connected with your neighbor and getting friendly again would be a lot of fun. Speaking of neighbors, I love the idea of reconnecting, but again, we've got to keep that distance. In the neighborhood in which I live, we actually have picket fences that enclose our property line. But I'm getting to know my neighbor. And we actually had a chat through the fence the other day. Why not invite your neighbor to a backyard chit chat? Set up your own picnic. Let them set up theirs. Get to know each other, even if it's a conversation through the fence. It may seem odd, but it's a new way to connect. Speaking of back fences and those things that divide us, why not turn them into something amazing that inspires us? Why not take some masking tape and turn your back fence with some chalk and some masking tape into a palette, or even an interesting game where you and your neighbor can share pictures back and forth, or your loved ones. Be intentional is really what I'm saying. And I think that's the theme that Melanie and so many of our other moms have shared today, is to schedule and to plan and be intentional. You know, growing up, I wasn't a planner sort of person. I didn't want to be scheduled and in a box. I was more of a broad stroke kind of person, but I have found there's great freedom in intentionality of connecting as well as in scheduling. So why not create a calendar as a family? For those moms of you that are used to working outside the house home and having board meetings and scheduling meetings, or dreaded all day long Monday meetings of planning, why not get your family organized and take your boardroom to the breakfast table and allow your kiddos to have input about what the scheduling looks like for homeschooling, activities for break times, activities for the early evening. Why not appoint a new temporary director of entertainment or communication for the night and raise your kid up to be the one that leads out on the games for the evening, or introducing the upcoming meeting or the upcoming movie that you might share as a family tonight? Go ahead and tap those kids into the role of leadership right there in your own home. Also, make a point of being very intentional during dinner time. As Melanie mentioned just previously, why not open it up to family time, conversation time? When was the last time you sat and had a conversation with your kiddo and they learned what your favorite food was or your favorite memory as a child? When was the last time you even had that conversation with your spouse? Those are the connection points that matter. We often grow up together and live alongside each other, but there's still been a disconnect for far too long in our home. So what I'm suggesting is get connected with every opportunity that you have. Dinner time's a great way. Unfortunately, my mama, I get emotional when I talk about her because I'm missing her, and that's okay. But a great way to connect with her is through FaceTime. We might have dinner together. I can prop her up on my table. Yes, I am advocating for select screen time, but let her see what we're doing. Let her be included in our dinner conversation. I was talking with a friend the other day, and we actually talked about doing FaceTime disconnected bingo. As a family, get creative. It doesn't matter the physical distance because we have the technical bridge. Just make it your family flavor of the night. Find a good video chat platform. Now, I know we don't want to get, in the habit of allowing our kids to have uncontrolled screen time, or us to even become messy with our own schedules and get distracted with screen time. But if we're scheduling things out and we're very intentional as a family to be connected through platforms in certain ways, this is really a great way to reach outside of our four walls. So what I mean by that, Sunday night Bible study with a group of women that I love to have. Why not? Let's still get together. We can do it via speakerphone. We can still cover scripture. We can still do it via Skype or Google Hangouts or any number of other platforms, but it's a way that I can connect and a way that they know that I'm praying with them. Churching together. How do we do that? Many of our churches have become very tech savvy and are going ahead and being very intentional about having Sunday service published online. As for me and my family, my husband and I were doing it previously, but now with all of us, it's a great chance for us to line up as a family and engage even watching church service on television or online. But what we're also able to do is pick out a family scripture for the week, meditate on that, pray with each other together, and then really come back together before our next Sunday while we're having a conversation over one of our dinner times, and let the others know in our family what that means to us. You know, I heard the other day, and it stuck with me, and it's my favorite. It's kind of my favorite little way of looking at the situation now. God has put everyone in timeout. As a country and as in the world, and maybe even in some of our households, we've been behaving badly. Our priorities have been out of whack. And so he's put us in timeout, and he's sent us into our homes so that we can reconnect and become the light, so that when he calls us back out, which is hopefully sooner than later, we can reconnect with our communities and have a greater appreciation more now than ever. This is a unique opportunity to go old school in some ways, such as connecting through the mail. But it's also a new way of teaching our children to lay this phone down and connect heart to heart. Plus, it's a great thing you can incorporate into homeschooling. You're learning penmanship and spelling and writing and social skills as well. Make it fun. Make it fun. And what I mean by it, I mean all activities. It's okay, mamas. You make the rules. It's okay for you to rewrite some of the rules. It's okay if dinner time happens at breakfast time and breakfast time happens at dinner time. And oh, by the way, if you don't want to take my lead, you can even have dessert at breakfast. Whatever the upside down day looks like, it can be a lot of fun. It can be controlled chaos, and it can be scheduled. Have a dance night where the family gets together, and as they're turning up that music, we are engaging in a new way. Use the technology then and then only to take videos and send to family members that can't be with you. It's also a great way to mark those memories for later viewing at holiday times when your families are back together. It's creating a virtual family album of snapshots and moments. Our kiddos grow up so fast, and you now have an excuse to slow them down, engage in making memories, taking pictures and videos that you can share and enjoy for a lifetime, as well as really share the heartbeat of your home and what that looks like with the outside world. I just encourage you that there aren't any wrongs here, because mamas, you were called specifically by God to be the mom to these kiddos that you do have at home. And if they're grown like mine are, you can always make memories from a distance. I'm teaching one of my kiddos how to cook from a distance. I'm propping up my phone and we're having a cooking session live. I'm able to have story time with my grandlovey. I'm able to do a dance party and get my groove on remotely. And I encourage you to do the same. Don't forget, there are folks that are out there that are by themselves in solo quarantine. Check in on them. But above all of that, just remember, now is a time for us as moms to take mom moments and make them wow moments, to make doldrum days that pass by as we coexist and turn them into, wow, some of the best memories we've ever had. Last, I want to lead with, don't forget about dad. Mom and dad have a date night. Let the kiddos cook dinner and then serve you. It's a teachable moment for them, and it's going to be a funny memory for you. Have a crazy dinner night. Have lots of memory-making moments with your kiddos, and just enjoy the fact that you have the privilege of being a mom. So I'd like